What if Deku had matter manipulation? Part 4. Now, before I start this what if off, I would like to say I'm sorry for not uploading the past 2 days. I know I said I would at the end of part 3, but something came up and I just couldn't record. However, I'm gonna get right back into the groove and start daily uploading once again. I know these past 2 to 3 months have kind of been a little rocky for my upload schedule, but that's all gonna change as I'm starting daily uploading once again. And I'd also like to say in 23 days, I'm launching something small that I hope you guys do enjoy. And yeah, let's get this what if started. Now, where I left part 3 off, Izuku had just read how there was going to be a field trip in exactly 2 weeks. And over the next 2 weeks, he would head into the UA school building and would find out about this event USJ field trip thing. And they would learn all about it from the rescue portion and what type of places there was going to be. They would end up growing very familiar with it and places they could go, say if they needed to get a drink or use the bathroom. So, when the day finally came, Aizawa told them they can either put their PE uniforms on or their hero costumes on. Now, most of them chose to put their hero costumes on, but some of their hero costumes were destroyed in the All Might Heroes vs. Villains assignment type thing, so they couldn't wear their hero costumes and they had to wear their PE costumes. Now, from there, 10 minutes would pass with them all getting dressed and hopping onto a bus, as it would then take the 1 hour trip down to the USJ. And as soon as they got there, they would all marvel at how big the place looked. Sure, it looked big in the photos, but this just blew them away. The place was huge. In person, they looked like ants compared to it. As they would climb up these steps going into it, as they would open the doors to reveal the USJ in all its glory, and standing right there by the staircase going down into the many places for the rescue training, just happened to be the Hero 13, to where they would start to explain what they're gonna be doing. Of course, the young heroes in training already knew what they were going to be doing. They just had to get sort of a refresher by 13. And so they did, as they would then head down to where they were going to be doing this rescue training. But as soon as they took their first step, a massive purple portal opened up, spewing hundreds upon hundreds of villains out of this portal. As then Aizawa would jump down, yelling for 13 to protect the students, and finally, 3 more people showed up. A person with tons of hands on their body, a Nomu bird-looking thing, and a purple portal gas thing that looked exactly like the portal that had opened up, releasing all of those villains. So Aizawa would jump down and start to take care of all the villains, as the purple portal would go right up to where all the students were and would say that he needs to split them up if their plan is going to work. But before he could do that, 13 tried to use one of her powers, her court effects on him, which would ultimately cause her, I don't know, I think one of you guys said it was announced by the creator of My Hero Academia that it was a her, but I can't remember, so I'm just not gonna say anything about that. So that would end up injuring the Hero 13, and Kirogiri would be able to scatter the students all throughout the USJ building, as they would then be forced to take care of all the villains awaiting them in their respected areas. As Hizuku would land in the boating area or the water area. Izuku and the people there, with him being Tsuyu Asui and Minoru Mineta, I can't really pronounce Mineta's first name, would look down to see many fish and shark-like villains all in the water, just waiting for the heroes in training to do something. The villains looked as if they were waiting for the heroes to jump down and just start to blindly attack them. However, that's not what Izuku and his friends did at all. They would sit up there waiting and strategizing, just hoping they could come up with a strategy that could possibly work to just to defeat these people or villains trying to hurt them in the water. Izuku would then just get a light bulb in his head, thinking, wait, Asui, your quirk is being frog-like attributes, right? To which Tsuyu Asui would say how Izuku's correct, with Izuku then thinking, well, if that's the case, then why would they put you in the water zone? They could have put you in the fire zone easily, and you would even be able to attack. You wouldn't be effective. This would cause Mineta and Tsuyu Asui to start to think. Izuku was right after all, so they must not know what their quirks were. So Izuku would tell Mineta to start throwing his cork or purple ball type things down into the water and hope that they might touch it and get stuck to it. To which Izuku would then just use his cork and would jump up using just some of his powers, as he would then be seen above all of them, as Izuku would look down to the villains, as he wasn't really far above them. I mean, he just jumped off of the boat as the villains start to scatter, afraid of Izuku. He was right. They didn't know what his quirks were, and that must have been enough evidence for him, as Izuku would make a portal right below him, as Izuku would appear right back onto the boat. As Izuku would then look down at all of the villains, if Izuku was just some type of portal user, kind of like Kirogiri, Izuku would then get the bright idea to try and create small holes all throughout the bottom of the water zone and put them somewhere very far away from civilization, being a desert, as Izuku would then start draining the water out of the water zone and would start to drain all the water, which would end up sucking up the villains too, and they couldn't get back through the portal as it was 20 feet off of the ground, as the water zone would end up just clearing all the way through, as Izuku would then walk off, as the holes were not big enough to fit an entire boat through them. They were quite small, but big enough to fit a person through. Izuku would then walk onto land with Asui and Mineta, as they would see Aizawa pretty injured in the middle with the Nomu and Shigaraki, as Izuku would stand up as if he was about to protect Aizawa, as Izuku would rush right at Shigaraki. As soon as Shigaraki would look, Izuku would fall straight through one of his portals, as Shigaraki would look towards Kirogiri, thanking him for stopping Izuku, as Shigaraki would look on in complete shock. He did not do that, and he's not sure where Izuku had just gone. As Kirogiri would start to look around until a portal would appear right behind Shigaraki's neck, as a hand would pull Shigaraki right through this portal, expanding so Shigaraki could fit through it. As soon as Shigaraki was pulled into this darkness, it was completely pitch black and Shigaraki couldn't see. However, Izuku would completely knock out Shigaraki and would then open up a portal right to the UA jail and would place him inside of it with cork-canceling handcuffs that Izuku had made onto him. As Izuku would go to the principal's office, warn Nezu about the USJ and tell All Might to go there, and would also tell Nezu that he thinks that he got their leader and that he's in their UA jail, so tell guards to go and try and make sure he doesn't escape. As Izuku would then make a portal right back to UA, or back to the USJ. Now, if you're wondering why Izuku couldn't just make a portal to teleport All Might there, All Might was doing other things, and Izuku didn't have the time as he had to go straight back there and hopefully try to protect Aizawa, as Izuku would have made a portal under Aizawa and placed him in the med bay of UA. as Izuku would then start to run around, hoping that none of his classmates were hurt, defeating any villains that came in his way. As Izuku would then make it to the middle, where he saw Kurogiri scrambling to try to do something about Shigaraki being gone. As All Might would then burst through the doors, as Kurogiri would end up being scared off and going back to the bar to tell All for One how their star pupil or fake leader, being Shigaraki, had been captured and how the Nomu had been defeated by All Might. Of course, the Nomu hadn't even been touched by All Might at that point, to which All for One knew this. All for One would decide not to be angry at Kurogiri, knowing that Kurogiri did what he did on complete adrenaline. He didn't want to get captured like Shigaraki, and he was never where Shigaraki was, so he couldn't rescue Shigaraki. He could have rescued the Nomu, but it would only take a couple of months for them to make a Nomu at that caliber again. And that's where I'm going to leave it off, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy What If Deku Had Matter Manipulation Part 4. Let's hope I can make Part 5 and Part 6 tomorrow and the day after that. I thank you all for watching once again, and goodbye.